Now I want to move on a little bit more to the historical background of some of the books that we'll be looking at in today's lecture and then also the last couple of lectures. We left the Israelites in exile in Babylon. And in 539 BCE, the Babylonian Empire was itself defeated by the Persians under the leadership of Cyrus. Cyrus of Persia, 539, he manages to establish the largest empire that's been seen in the ancient Near East to date. It stretches from Egypt all the way north up to Asia Minor, which is modern-day Turkey, and all the way over to eastern Iran. Huge empire. Unlike other ancient empires, Persian Empire espoused a policy of cultural and religious independence for its conquered subjects. The famous Cyrus cylinder, this is a 9-inch long fired clay cylinder, and it's covered in cuneiform writing. And it tells of Cyrus's conquest of Babylon. The conquest is described as being at the command of Babylon's god, Marduk. So obviously the Babylonians' god Marduk wanted our Cyrus of Persia to be able to come in and conquer his nation. And it tells of his conquest, and it tells of Cyrus's policy of allowing captives to return to their homelands and to rebuild their temples and worship their gods. And this is consistent, this archaeological find is consistent with the picture that's presented in the Bible. According to the biblical text we'll be discussing soon, Cyrus in 538 gave the Judean exiles permission to return to Jerusalem and reconstruct their temple. The exiles did return. Many of the exiles returned. They returned to what was now a Persian province. It's the province of Yehud. Yehud is the name now of Judea, and Yehud is where we're going to get the word Jew. Yehudi is the word Jew, one who belongs to the province of Yehud. And so many of the exiles returned to this now Persian province, Yehud, and they exercise a fair degree of self-determination. Now, periodization of Jewish history tends to center on these events. So the period from 586 to 538 or so, that's known as the exilic period. Most scholars maintain that the traditions of the priestly source, the traditions of the Deuteronomistic source, pretty well reach their final form in those years. Obviously, older traditions go into the composition of those corpora, but they reach their final form for the most part in that period. So the post-exilic period following is also known as the Persian period at first, but of course the Persians won't rule for long. Alexander's going to come marching through the ancient Near East, so after the Persians we'll have the Hellenistic period. But the period after the exile is referred to as the Persian period, the period of the Restoration, post-exilic period. It's also called the Second Temple period because by about 520 they will have reconstructed the temple. So it's not inaccurate really to refer to this time as the Second Temple period. The Second Temple will stand until 70, the year 70 of the Common Era. So the period, of course, before the exile we think of as the First Temple period. The temple is destroyed in 586. So the First Temple period or pre-exilic period.